How long you been in America?
6 years now.
6 years.
Yeah.
You like it here?
Well, I work
Okay.
here, so
Record.
of course I like it. Yeah.
Now,
Especially
so
here.
you from Egypt? Have you been to the pyramids?
Oh yeah, actually, I live like half an hour.
Half
By
an hour
car.
from the pyramids?
Yeah.
Now, on the walls and the reliefs of the different artifacts, what color do they show on the paintings of the hieroglyphs?
Say that again, sorry.
And the hieroglyphs and walls of the different pyramids and the either out of fascia of different monuments they have over there with the big lions and big different statues, whatever. What pictures are painted on the wall? What color are the people on the wall?
The color of the people. It's hard to say because those things were, like fixed over time.
And
many
then
times.
of course they erode over time.
Erode
fade.
over time, so they have to be fixed.
But they still have some that
remodeled.
you can see. The color.
Well,
I agree
you mean
it's
like
not
the
all-
race?
Huh? No,
You
what
mean-
color? See, first of all, is race defined by color?
Oh, so your question is like the race. What were?
I
race
said
of the
what
people?
color? I was asking color.
It's
I
actually
didn't
color.
deal with race first because
Yeah.
I want to see what the color be. The outer
Because all the
appearance.
colors are the same, and again, it's hard to know the original colors.
I got some pictures, and I can show you from some of the ones that were left behind. And by the way, Shalom, we the real Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out, prophesying the return of the Most High and His Heavenly Son. All praises and honor and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
double honors to the Apostles out in New York, the Great Millstone, and GMS. By the time we started, we was an Egyptian fellow was looking at the sign. You can step up. You're not on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, you stop right around there. Otherwise, we don't care. We're not. We just focus on teaching our history of the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American nations. We were taught all of our lives in America that so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are not the same. That if you're so-called Negro, you're actually an African. If you're Mexican, you're Mexican, and Mexicans have nothing to do with Puerto Ricans. We're that all different nations. When, according to the Bible, that's a different story. Matter of fact, how many nations are there? 18 nations in the Bible? Out of 18 nations that the Bible claimed, now they claim to have hundreds and hundreds of nations. That's our offshoots of the same families who broke off, like Korea and North Korea. That's all Korea. It's no sense. And then if you really want to get funny, they go back out of either Moab or Ammon. You know what I'm saying? But now Moab and Ammon, which would be China and Japan, they're also two different nations. Those are brother nations. All right? But we can follow this all through the scriptures, through the Bible, and through antiquity. But those things are taken, going back to antiquity. Like I said, we had stumbled. I'm just going to give you a couple, but I'm going to show you. I have hundreds, literally thousands of pictures going back in antiquity. But I'm just going to show a couple, and I'm showing you. The brothers have been seeing these pictures, but I'm going to show you some that were in the hieroglyphs, like this one here. Hebrews making mud bricks. Tomb of Rekhmir the Vizier in Thebes, dated to Thutmose III. What color are they on the wall? Right, which is brown-skinned people, right?
Just like my color.
I knew you was gonna say it. I knew you was gonna say brown skin, but you said just like my color.
I am them. They're my back.
I mean, well, not the Hebrews. You're talking about the Egyptians. Because right now, I'm talking about the Hebrews who were in slavery. Somebody give me Exodus, the second chapter. Because no, we had a mixed motives too. You have, because we know that some Israelites were first of all, right now, if you got everybody in Chicago that was originally here in Chicago, does everybody stay in Chicago, or some people move? Some people move. I'll give you that. But the scriptures will give you a timeline, and you will follow the timeline. You find the identity. You find the identity. You find the truth. Because what was told in masses, I remember that too. Do you believe everything that comes on the news? Why not? Is the what? Now I don't know if you can hear. He says it's an agenda for everybody. Okay, so he said you can't always believe everything. Well, in school, that's what. She's wondering where you. No. But we were taught here in American education to, if you do a book report, any kind of paper or whatever they ask you, that you have to cite how many sources? At least 3, 4, 5 sources, right? Do we do that when we watch the news? See, they cite their sources. They just say it and then that's it. Well, I agree. That's it. So that's why we go back into history and look at some of the pictures and evidences in the scriptures, so we don't always have to listen to the narrative of the people versus Matter of fact, give me about 6 or 7. Okay, Doug, I'll give you this one scripture. That's showing that I showed a picture of Hebrews working in the, on pictures. When I was living in Europe, I went to the British Museum. Some of these pictures are in the British Museum because you know they stole a lot of the artifacts. So they got their real copies there. Even here, matter of fact, here at University of Chicago, we went over to what's it called?
The museum.
I know
Right here.
I forgot the name of it.
What's the museum right here?
East Oriental Museum. We got pictures of that showing, but our people don't know, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans. That's why we're out here. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted validation for somebody since you said you was in Egypt, that there are dark skinned people on those images. Some as Egyptians, which you claim to be, and then some as Hebrews, which we claim to be. And that's the message we're trying to let our people know. We are not just, they'll call us African. If we're African, why did the scholars in Egypt call us Hebrews? Why did Thutmose III, the picture I showed you, why did he deem those the Israelites? Why did they write in the ancient hieroglyphs that we conquered these people of Moses, and we had this battle with the Israelites? It's all documented, but nobody talks about it.
It's really hard to verify what really happened in history, because history is written by the winners.
Sometimes, but history is also written by people. And kingdoms. Now, when they not fighting, you got Egyptians sitting on a carbon on a rock inside of Babylon. They show you a history of. Okay, there was 7 years of famine. They wrote it in their book. We wrote it in our book. That's called witness and confirmation. And then you go back into the world region around there. There's other countries that said the same thing about a big ass famine that happened at that same time. So it's a difference. I understand what you mean, because a lot of times, like the white man, he right now is writing out slavery that was over here in America.
So, for example, we had a dynasty, so-called the Kush.
Yeah, the what?
Kush.
Yeah, the Kush. Yeah, the Kush.
Sudan.
Yeah.
And they're like 25 years.
Those are the real
wiped
Egyptians.
from our history. Why?
No, those images he shows you were Cushites. Those are the real Egyptians. You're not the real Egyptians. You got placed in Egypt when you got placed in Egypt. You got placed in Egypt when Esau took over to Ptolemies. All right. You're not the real Egyptian.
Have you heard the
You're an Ishmaelite. You're an Ishmaelite. Hey, none of this matter. Hey, get Psalms 83. It don't matter what you are. All you heathens fucked us up, the Israelites. The picture you saw on the hieroglyphs is happening today spiritually. You got to leave with Esau, Moab, Ammon. All of y'all got together and fucked us up. Because you will look at those hieroglyphs and know who we are. Yeah, you part of it, man. All right, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. All right, you ain't told our people nothing. You could live 30 minutes with the people. You had access to this information.
This is a picture of the actual Egyptians. Does that look like your people? So from where? What you said from where?
7,000 years ago.
From 7,000 years ago? Now that's not even substantial, and even the white man said that's
When
not.
was the Great Pyramid?
Well, the Great Pyramids were erected about 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago. All right. So now if you go into the ancient hieroglyphs and you look at the pictures of.
That's magnificent.
Let me ask you this: are there relics from the ancient pyramids? Are there relics
at
from
least an extra 500, 1,000 years
Who told you that?
civilization?
Look, the pyramids got built right here.
Exodus 2? That's the one I was told. 2 and 1 and 6.
We talk about history right here.
They're right here. I'm telling you.
Verse 6.
This is Exodus 1 and 6. And Joseph died in all his brethren in all that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased in the multitude and multiplied and waxed strong, mighty, and the land was filled with them. And now there across up a new king over Egypt, which do not Joseph.
Sorry, Joseph. So a king rose